So our next presentation is going to be from Vanessa McGuinness from Perth NRM. So Vanessa is one of the coastal and marine program managers with Perth NRM, and she's going to talk to us about some of their work in coastal resilience. So with that, I'll hand over to you, Vanessa, if you want to unmute and share your screen.
Oh, all right, just sharing the screen. Did that come through all right?
Not for me yet.
Okay, let's try that again. Yeah,
Yep,
how's that?
now we've got it.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I know it's a big shift over to the coastline, but we're sort of really proud of our coastal marine program here at Perth NRM, and very fortunate to have funding to keep the program going. So I wanted to chat to you today about our Disaster Ready project fund through the round two, which is the Australian Government National Emergency Management Agency and DFES here in WA. So we received this funding at the start of the year, and we're only in the first year of actually rolling out this program of a three-year program. So not as intense as Trent's presentation as before, but it's really lovely that we can sort of share it in its initial year, which is lovely. So I'll just flip through. So yeah, I always love acknowledging our Whadjuk Noongar nation here that we in Perth NRM reside. I love paying my respects to the elders past, present, emerging. And, you know, we're really trying with this program to embed some of their cultural knowledge into what we do as well. So talk a little bit more about that shortly. So the DRF project, Disaster Ready project, I'll probably say DRF quite a lot. So Disaster Ready Fund. We applied for this with some encouragement from our state partners. So that's DOT and DPLH. They set sort of our coastal erosion hotspot modelling here in Western Australia. And quite often we go for our Coast WA grants, including Coast West. But those applications are only a 1 year, whereas we're really looking to secure some real funding for 3 years. So we were encouraged to apply and were successful, which was really amazing. So we have 3 years of funding, totaling just under 800K, and that's to build resilience around Perth's coastal communities, and working in with 5 local councils that are listed there. So that's the City of Fremantle, Town of Cambridge, City of Stirling, Joondalup and Wanneroo as well. So they have put in their in-kind sponsorship that they will be part of this program as well. So they're our key stakeholders in part of this. And then from there, we've been able to consult with community and get their advice and knowledge and know-how on the ground, because some of the community groups have been working 20 plus years on these beautiful beaches that we're working on. The key project areas, so we've got 3 major areas. So we've got our nature-based restorations and nature-based solutions to coastal management, our citizen science monitoring, and our coastal resilience education. And in that, we're embedding some Aboriginal engagement and some workshops with local Aboriginal businesses as well. So yeah, that's the 3 projects. I'll talk a lot more about our nature-based solutions and what we're trying to achieve with this project. But I'll tap in a little bit on the citizen science monitoring and our education as well. All right, so the problem. So we're talking about solutions, but I always want to talk about the problem first. Here in Western Australia, we do have quite a few coastal erosion hotspots throughout, and quite a few in Perth as well. And of course, what's that impact, you know, in our urban environments? You know, we have a lot of assets and quite these small, narrow beaches that, you know, we have roads and parklands and reserves behind these narrow beaches. So we do experience a lot of coastal erosion, and we do experience a lot of coastal movement as well. Coastal erosion in itself is a natural process, but because of the way we have built our urban infrastructure, you know, we are dealing with erosion that's going to start cutting away some of our assets behind. So we as NRM, we're in the nature-based solutions of, you know, protecting our coastlines. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But yeah, so we always try to ensure that, we're looking at nature first and foremost. And then when it gets to the point where we might need to put some of those hard infrastructures in place, we look to the local governments, the state governments for that. So we come in as a nature-based program to protect our coastlines. So this is just a few photos from this year. We experienced dune blowouts, wind erosion, wave erosion, dune rain runoff as well from our car parks. And you can see in the bottom there that it sort of cuts away at the dune itself, and it is only a narrow system that we're dealing with. Sort of at the top right, this was a project at Port Beach called Sound Tracks, where they'd put dune matting in and plants, and then it's just been washed away. They've been doing sand renourishment there for a few years, but it was predicted, we had a presentation at the start of the year from UWA that we are going to see quite a destructive year, and that's due to the high tides and the storm intensities that we've had here. So we are dealing with this problem here, and I would always love to talk a little bit about the solutions. So when we talk about coastal restoration, the most immediate thing that people think of is planting. So planting is just one solution to what I like to call like a multi-solution approach. Planting is great because it gets the community involved, and this is really what the project is about, is getting community, getting people out there talking about the coastline, and sort of enjoying the time that they are there. So a little bit more of that connection. So planting is always a really, really great way of getting people out. I love this main photo because this was earlier in the year, with that big storm just coming in, and everyone's just trying to get their plants in as quick as possible. So it just sort of that contrast of what we're dealing with, and the amazing work that the community are doing as well. So planting is just one approach that we take here on our coastlines. My big love is brushing. So if anyone hasn't heard of brushing before, brushing is about using natural materials, very much preferencing things that are native, because we're putting out this brushing onto our native dunes. So we want something that doesn't either have seed or doesn't bring in some pests or any sort of biosecurity hazards. So brushing, we usually source brushing either from local reserves or from strata green, which it brings in these big Melaleuca bales. And it's really, really great in terms of sand capture. And it's also really great about keeping people off the dunes as well. It looks very undesirable to be walking through a dune that has brushing. And you can see the impact here that we've got. So we've just the before and after is in the city of Stirling at one of their dune blowouts. And people have just been walking up and down because they see a track, and it's always the easiest way to walk. So putting this brushing down, I don't think I would want to walk through that at all. And brushing will just absolutely capture the sand, and then we'll direct seed next year into that brushing as well. So it acts like a mulch layer, it acts like a sand trapping mechanism, and we do love using it. It does come with a cost, so it can be quite expensive. So if you can use natural material from local reserves when the horticulture teams are out or the bush crews are out, we usually like to do that. But when there's none of that material available, we'll go out and purchase it. Matting and planting, this is another solution. We see a lot of success with matting because we spray out weeds, and it smothers the weeds as well, and then we plant into it. It's a lovely approach, and it's seen a lot of success here on our coastline. And we usually couple it with sand trap fencing as well. And I think I've got a photo of that afterwards as well. This is in City of Coburn. We've been working with them on a couple of projects, and they've got a great bush crew team where we get a lot of that native brush from the reserves, and we've actually put it in the sort of primary dune area, and that's to sort of prevent more wind erosion, capture sand, and then we plant behind that. So I don't know if you can see along here, we've done this sort of primary dune brushing, that's captured sand. Sand's built up behind. We've been able to plant and then put up a few brush walls where there's dune blowouts, and that's just built up sand naturally over time. So we see a lot of success with that approach as well. And yes, this is up at Quinn's Rocks. So yeah, we're doing the sand trap fencing, matting and planting. This was a 3-year project previously, and we've continued it now with the disaster ready funds. And you can see the success already. So the planting from behind and the planting in the future that we're going to do. So that was only a year or two beforehand where we matted, and you can see the plants there thriving, which is absolutely fantastic, because this June beforehand was just sort of weeds and blowouts and whatnot. So it's a really successful approach that we like to take. So cool. So just moving on to the next program area, we are working with CoastSnap to install stations along our coastline. It's a really, really great program. It's seen nationwide and then international. It's the University of New South Wales Water Research Lab. So they are the ones that are actually formed the software and holding on to the data that we collect through this program. And they've worked a lot with University of WA in UWA in the past as well. So we're going to be putting up 5 of these CoastSnap stations. So that means anyone in the community can come and take a photo using their mobile phone. They sit it in the cradle, take the picture and submit it through the CoastSnap QR code that's on the signage around. And then from there, we're able to take those pictures and create a model of shoreline movement. And that can then guide our local government agencies about what's happening on their shoreline. We're trying to select areas that might be either going through renourishment or suffering erosion. And that can guide their CHRMAP processes or any of their sort of coastal management processes in the future. So it's really great because we love that the pictures can also create a time lapse, and the community really want to see, you know, where that data is going. So if they're taking part in this program, you know, they'll be able to see the time lapse of that coastline shifting and changing, which I think is really fantastic. And it also just, you know, it educates. There's another area of education for people to be involved in the sort of coastal process and start asking those questions and start wondering, you know, oh, you know, how is my coastline changing, or how can I protect it? How can I get involved? And that's where we'd start to link up community groups together as well. So I think it's a really great program. I'm looking forward to installing it. We've already selected a few sites. So Queen's Beach, City of Wanneroo have selected theirs already, which will be looking out at one of their beautiful beaches, and Medham's Pool as well in Stirling. So if anyone's ever been to Medham's, it's absolutely beautiful. It's like the most perfect snorkel spot. So we really hope that we're going to get a lot of people interested in actually what's happening on our coastline as well, because the City of Stirling will be doing renourishment within this area as well. So so looking forward to that. We've just selected a few other sites more recently, so more to come in this space. And then, of course, we really love the education work that we do at Perth NRM. We have a program called the Adopt a Beach program. So we've got a coordinator who goes out and delivers school engagement programs. So the ones that we are doing with Disaster Ready Fund is our coastal erosion hotspot tours and Build a Beach workshops. So looking at coastal erosion, getting the kids out to actually build you know, a scenario and what would happen if they've got rock walls or natural materials or dunes or buffers. So that they're really, really engaged with that. We've also had TAFE groups out and university groups out as well to come and explore sort of the erosion with us and, you know, actually get them involved and get them more hands-on and start sort of leading them to community groups that are working out on those coastlines as well. So really great program. And yeah, we'll be continuing it for the next couple of years as well. And yeah, I think that's it from me. So yeah, we would really love to answer any questions about the project, or anyone can email me if they're really interested. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Vanessa.